Let's be honest. In this world, there are promises that people never plan to keep. Hey everybody, welcome back to Carside Chat. I am your host, Primo, and as you can see, I'm getting better at this. I know it's weird, and I want to thank everybody that gave me input on the show and said that I've heard a lot of good things recently about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So great input, and I thank you. The thing, I like to be very transparent. I don't like to hold in stuff, and I like to be upfront. And the reason is because a lot of those places out there, they want to make the perfect show and make everything diamond and golden, and everything's got to be great. And I'm sorry, this world is not a perfect place. If you ever do the stuff that we're doing right now, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be something that you fight for every day, and some days you're not going to feel like fighting for it. So today was a day that I did not feel like doing this show. We're coming up on Christmas. I have to be honest, I kind of gauged all the wheels wrong when it came to the week, and I just had no power. I had no energy. I came in, but I am very happy about doing this. I'm very happy about sharing the things that I'm sharing, and some of the lessons that we're giving out are super important. They're things that I had to learn the hard way, and I don't want you to learn the same lesson that I had to learn when I went through this. So it was, you get up some days and you don't feel like doing it, and you just kind of have to push. And the thing that I find funny about it is you push and suddenly you're in it and you go, wow, this feels really good. I know why I do this now. But it's going to car shows, going to stuff like that. And this is the time of year that people think about things like depression. They think about anxiety. You may not, it's a very social time. It's actually the best times. If you plan on getting out and doing stuff, this is one of the best times ever to go out and say, hey, I'm going to shake hands with people that you haven't shaken hands with probably all year, and to refresh some of that stuff. And one of the words we're going to keep saying, and I want to keep hammering this home, is don't forget to stop watering the weeds and start watering the flowers. If you're going to ever make a good garden, you focus as little as you can on the weeds just to get them out of the way, pull them up, be done with them, and you move on to focusing on the flowers that are blooming and doing their thing. And that's the problem with a lot of things that we run into. We start watering weeds. We get caught up in all the negativity, all the people yelling and raging at each other, all the things. We put up a post the other day that was it the Tennessee squat, the thing with the trucks in the back and their backs being lowered down. That was I know it's a bad thing, but the idea of outlawing it was just stupid. It's every time you outlaw something, you open the door to outlaw something else. And the reason we said it was stupid was not just because it was being outlawed, but the idea that there's no science or anything like that attached to it. It's just something that you don't like, so therefore you ban it. And that's just not good thinking. It's everything in your life should not be revolved in the idea that, work is inconvenient, so therefore you should ban it. It wouldn't work. So the science or the context of the philosophy, however you want to word it, if it wraps around in a circle like that, it tells you that this is the way you should think, and you should have good policies. But how much pushback did I have because people looked over and just said, this is stupid, it's ugly, I don't like it. Hey, you know what? I don't like construction or loud, ambulances or fire trucks driving by my house every day. I may not like living in an area where the wind blows or storms happen or any of that. But you know what? You tend to get used to it. If you live in a city, you're used to it being loud. Actually, it's funny because you think about that old My Cousin Vinny moment. And if you live in that area, he's in the place where he couldn't sleep in all the wooded areas because all the owls and stuff. But the second he goes to bed when he's in jail and everybody's making noises and they're like riding in the back, he just sleeps like a baby. And that was my thing. I couldn't sleep unless when we lived next to the helicopter landing zone for the hospital. So the town was nonstop beeping, and you hear the helicopter landing, and my wife was like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, this is crazy. And I'm sleeping like a baby. So yeah, that's the thing is we're going to go over some of this today. I actually do have a script because I decided to be a little bit lazy. Like I said, I prepped for this because I just was like, you know what it is. So if I'm not looking at you the whole time I'm reading, and it is what it is. So I hope you appreciate it because I wanted to make sure all these thoughts came together. But yeah, that's the other thing. Before we go forward, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon and yeah, follow whatever it is. I don't know, because we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple. The Apple started advising people that we were out there, which I think is great. Obviously, most of our content is, car related, but I wanted to get some of this positive thinking stuff in here. If you're ever going to be able to afford a Lamborghini, if you're ever going to be able to afford a Porsche or a Mercedes or whatever you're going to do, it's going to take a little bit of positive thinking, and it's going to take getting up on the days you don't feel like it to go in to do something that you love doing, and remembering that once you get there, you're probably going to forget that you didn't feel bad in the first place. And if you don't, then maybe you should think about, the people that you work with and where you work. But yeah, when we do this stuff, if you're new to media, just business in general, this is probably going to be the most important lesson you ever learned about getting into the stuff, and especially once you start getting success. This happened to me when I started doing this show and getting onto it. This was a learning curve for me. I'd never done anything like this before. And this whole thing started happening to me, and I had to learn a hard lesson. And the first one is the amount of people that blow smoke up your skirt, and it's going to be shocking. People are going to promise to build shows with you. They're going to say they want to buy your product. They're going to say they need your help, and it'll be through the roof. And all once you start working and putting the actual work out there. Before that, you may be looking for people to do it with and waiting for them to move, and if you do, it's never going to happen. It's going to take you taking that step forward to make sure that you're pushing forward. But everybody, that's the thing, is once you do it, everybody wants a piece of your action, but they all aren't willing to pay you. They are not willing to share their piece of the pie, especially even if you made it. They act like they're ready to jump in bed, but will forget you the moment the hotter girl shows up. So if they ever have a better opportunity, it doesn't matter how much you put into it, they're ready to move on. And you can count on it. They'll take all the credit. They'll leave you on the side of the road. And so that's when you get into these things and you have people that are asking you to do stuff and put stuff in, you have to learn to negotiate. You have to learn to put that contractual obligation out there. You shouldn't be filming anybody else unless you have some sort of release from them that they are saying that they can be on film. Now, that won't happen when it comes to like shows and general ideas. There's a lot of stuff here that you might want to talk to a lawyer about when it comes to negotiations and making sure that you have the right kind of contracts. It all has to do with potential of privacy or expectation of privacy. I'm sorry, that's the right word of it. But yeah, it's a very long, convoluted thing that you want to have in your head and understanding when there's times when you can put a microphone to somebody and say, hey, I got some questions. Would you be willing to answer them? Versus I'm going to have you on air and we're going to talk about stuff. And you have to be able to protect yourself the same way it is when somebody does something else and they say, they're never going to thank you. They're not, just expect it. If they do thank you, great. But that's going to be another conversation down the road here. And we'll get back to that. But 90% of these people, 95% of the people that you're going to deal with are fake. 5% are trying to be honest, but they have no ability to help you. They have no plan to help you, and or they can't afford your services. And yep, if you're good with math, that adds up to 100%. There's a famous line where the guy in the suit says, I don't take appointments, I make them. And there's a reason for that, because it's true. If you're not making it happen, it isn't happening. If you aren't putting out a contract the second someone opens their mouth or they won't sign on the dotted line right then and there, drop them like a bad habit and walk away. If they aren't willing to promote you here and now, trust me, they never will. There will be exceptions where you're wasting time when you need to put your toe in the water to find out if that cause is just or that person is worthy. But if you're making the appointment, it's all good. The idea is that if you control it. That's the thing is I do stuff with veteran charities all the time, and I really love doing stuff with them. Do I get stuff out of it? Effectively, yeah, but I'm not going into that to make money. I'm not going into that to to be the star. I want the veterans to be the stars. I want those guys to be out front, and I want that knowledge to be what's important. So if I lose something on that, and I go to an event and I focus a little bit more on somebody else, that is A-okay with me. I'm fine with that. But some things you're going to get into and you're going to say, hey, I have expectations. And if you don't let those expectations know, the other person is not going to, don't expect them to hand you the expectations. You have to make sure that what you expect is clear. Then you may think that I'm thinking about my real friends or my real business associates, and I'm not. They're not included in that 100% because the conversation will go something like this. I got this idea. Are you available Thursday? And their response will be, you bet. See you at noon. Done. Action, results, profit. They won't shake your tree. They're not interested in your money. They're not interested in all these other bonuses. They just want to invest in you. And I find it funny when the good people are checking to make sure I'm fairly compensated when they're doing more than anybody else. Trust me, these people have your back, but you have to move on it. Make them feel special. Repay them. It's so important that you have these people in your life right now that are willing and able to put all the energy into you. And they may not be the people that are exactly what you want. They may not feel that or tick all the boxes, or maybe, hey, you're doing a truck video channel. You're doing this truck sales thing. And this guy, he's not really a truck guy, but he's putting all the emphasis on it to make sure that you're successful. Seriously, take your time out and give this person some area. Make way for the person to let them in, because that's the point is, and I'll say it again, stop watering the weeds and start tending the flowers. Don't bother with people that make excuses or aren't interested in actually working with you or including you in their success. If they aren't sharing and including you right now, then you're not part of the equation. Just imagine your girlfriend tells the world you're dating, but she doesn't want to get in bed. Instead, she chooses to bang all your friends. And I know that sounds a little obtuse, but think about it. When they're riding your, or well, maybe I should say it like this, coattails, that doesn't count. You can't put in the work, but you want all the success out. This is not a gravy train. Don't treat it like a gravy train. If this is your job, your business, even your hobby, treat it like what it is. And you are the commodity, you are the resource, and you are important. So make sure you get patted on the back. Make sure that you're investing in this for the right reasons. And if that means that everybody's getting a part of that pie, that is A-okay. I'll do 100 things and make sure that everybody gets a cut or gets that, that thank you. I actually hate the idea when I forget people, because I have a lot of people to thank to get where we are today. But I try to strive, and the other thing is I get people who go, I don't want to be thanked. And that's where it gets really weird, because I'm like, well, how do I thank them? But don't complain about it either. Own it. If you left your car unlocked and somebody stole your change or your whole car, it is your fault. You knew what would happen. And remember this story. There's a lady that rescued a poisonous snake. She nurses it back to health. And when she lets it go, it turns and bites her. As she lay at dying, she asks why. And the snake replies, I'm a snake, bitch. What'd you expect? So really, what did you expect? Even when it happens, put your best face forward. Don't lose character, respect. Make a politician jealous at your resolve. You are better than this. The day you fail is when you let it get to you and give up. When I get robbed, I don't feel shame. I'm not a victim. It's a lesson. I only get to feel bad if I didn't learn the lesson. Otherwise, I'm smiling because I'm still in control. Trust me, I don't forget. And at some point, they'll need a hand to pull them out of the hole they're digging. And it would be a shame if the guy supplying the ropes made the noose for hanging. I'm going to quote a very famous line from Tony Stark, who said, is it better to be feared or respected? And I say, is it too much to ask for both? Let me explain to you exactly this journey and probably one of the best little anecdotal things I'm ever going to present. And I thought it was really cool how I wrote this. So I hope you pay attention. Is there anything in this you want to pay attention to? This is it. This is how it's going to go. This is your business. You're going to need a bike, and there's a race to win a bike. So you're going to need a bike to win the race, to win the bike. You need it. So you'll need to get the bike to even be in the race to win the bike. And once you get the bike, to race everyone wants to borrow your bike. so they can race, so they can win the bike. But if they win, they'll keep both bikes. And when you actually race and get a bike, they'll still show up with a bike, the people that were asking for the bike, and they'll race you hard so you can't get the bike. And if you win the bike, then you can rent it out to them so you can have more bikes. But at this point, everyone wants to rent your bike for free, and they'll still want you to teach them how to win. Then you realize that the real money is actually in the racing and not the bike. When you control the race, it doesn't matter if your opposition has a bike or not. You're the gatekeeper. You now hand out the bikes. So why am I giving this advice out for free? Why am I putting this out right? And I'm going to say it's pretty easy because it only works for good people. If you're a good person, this will all work out. I know it may not sound that way. You may be facing some difficult things right now. You may want to give up, but trust me, it only works for good people. And I want you to win. You need to be empowered. You need to have the biggest weapons. Peace only occurs when your enemies fear you. If you're a bad person, this doesn't work. Sure, you can fake it for a while, but sooner or later, a castle built on sand crumbles. Truth rises, and karma is a bitch. I just want to make sure that when the karma comes around, that I'm dating that bitch. But more importantly, I'd rather look at people and say, just be straight. Honesty is the best policy. I don't want to lose respect in people. I don't. So remember all those people that put you up there and make sure that when you rise, you pull them up with you. And for those of you who help somebody rise, make sure that your hand is up there and don't think that people just immediately know to pull you up. So, hey, pull me up. And the way you do that is to have set standards. Tell people what your expectations are. Make sure that you know what's going on. This is a two-way street, and it's one of those things that you have to remember when you're at the top, and you really have to remember when you're in the bottom. And that's the thing is no, I don't want people to lose respect in people. I don't, and nobody wants to lose respect. But if they do choose to go to war, make sure you're the guy supplying the missiles. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I hope you guys got something out of that. Like we put a lot of writing into that because it's one of those lessons that I'm going through, and it's been a very, very difficult lesson. And again, I said it's the time of year. People are going to be depressed. They're going to be upset. They're going to have anxiety, and you're going into places where there's probably going to be some people that you don't want to deal with. This is an opportunity to learn to be the better person and not go in and just say, Uncle Larry is a drunk and I hate him. Learn to find the positives in Uncle Larry. Find out what really makes Uncle Larry tick and use that as a driving force to go there and get invested. These things that we do are based on people. It is based on you can't do this by yourself. The old line that says if you want to go fast, go it alone, and if you want to go far, you're going to have to go with others. It's such a true statement, and it's one that if you're going to go with others, you're going to have to learn to work with people that none of these people agree with you. Not everybody is 100% aligned on anything, but if you're 100% aligned on the goal, you will eventually find that goal and you will have that one space. If for instance, we're promoting the car community and we want to continue to build the car community. There are people that I work with that don't agree with me 100% on the car community, but I have to pick my battles. I have to pick the things that I can fight and find people that are aligned with the idea that they don't care about these other things. All they care about too is making sure that goal of the car community is the paramount thing. So whatever you're doing, not just cars, not just business, with anything you do, from cleaning up your house to raising a child to any of that, these basic concepts work so well and they're fundamental that it works in anything, not just with the car scene. But that's the thing is we in the car scene, we have a lot of growing to do. There are a lot of people out there that still say that our community is toxic, and we just went to an event the other day, and my buddy Jim looked at me and he goes, you know what, everybody here, if we didn't have these cars, none of us would know each other and we would not be sharing in this wonderful thing. And I'm sitting here looking at a room that everybody in there I respected, and that's huge. Imagine that. That's not toxic. These people changed things. They helped veterans. They helped people with cancer. They helped a world. And And now they come together, and it doesn't matter our differences. We had every kind of thing there when it came to variation that you could imagine. And here we are coming together, just hanging out and being friendly. And trust, it's important. And, if you have trust, it's a very fragile thing. But once you can have it, anything is possible. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Carside Chat. Oh, we are gonna be taking next week off because of the holiday season. We're going to be taking it off for Christmas, and that's the thing is it'll be right on my half day to be able to record my next episode. But we're going to take it off, but we're using that. I am going to be using that time to build up this show, to make things better, to do something better, so you guys can take stuff off and use these things that we have here to kind of make a better show, make a better presence, and maybe teach us some lessons and talk more cars. And we're going to have more guests, more stuff. We're going to keep working on it to make sure that it is the best thing possible. So thank you guys for tuning in. It is always great to have you. This has been Carside Chat today. I am your host again, Primo. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out these other videos. And as always, don't forget to drive.